Welcome to the Learning About Dogs podcast with Kay Lawrence and Frances McCormack, and introducing her new collie puppy, Nika. This series is going to be focusing on all those questions that arise when you try and survive that first year with a new puppy. Good morning. So we are actually here again talking about dear Nika and how Frances is surviving her early days.
Hanging
Because
on.
you start with this puppy and you think, oh, this is just going to be so lovely, they're just so great, and then you start to think, oh, gosh, this is not what I was expecting.
No. I wasn't expecting a trip to the pharmacy this week. Sorry, a trip to 8 pharmacies.
That was for you, not for her. Yes.
That was for me, absolutely. She's an enthusiastic puppy with sharp nails.
I suppose it can work both ways, in the sense that what you expected is more than what you expected or less than what you expected. Yeah.
Yes.
That whole,
Yeah.
it's not, in a way, if we get disappointed of what we've got, we've only ourselves to blame because we set up a higher expectation than what was the dog actually was. Yeah.
Oh,
I
for
thought
sure.
you were to do this, and I thought,
Yeah. It's so unfair to them to bring your preconceptions of who they're going to be. I think there's no way anybody can match up to that, and you end up wanting to change the dog, which is just it's unfair and impractical.
Yeah. I think it's a bit like having an event that you've been really looking forward to and it turns out to be disappointing. Well then, to use a current phrase, well that's on you. Because you were building it to be something that it wasn't possibly going to offer anyway.
Absolutely.
I'm going to really enjoy this concert, or I'll really enjoy this book, and then you get disappointed because you've almost over-egged it before you actually got to see what it was. Yeah. Right. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about today is one of the issues that hits a lot of the people when they are in puppy class is the confidence and confidence to be able to say no to a stranger that wants to touch a dog, or no to a family member that wants to play with the dog and wind them up, or be able to realise that your puppy is not for the pleasure of other strangers, to be able to do stuff with it, and you need to have the confidence to stand by what is best for your puppy, because your contract is with this puppy, not with a passing stranger. So, learning to, what I often get back is, I have no problem being rude to strangers. I don't know you. No, you can't touch my puppy no more than you can touch my car. Go away. My puppy's not here for you to fondle and have a bit of pleasure on. But to some people, I understand it's extremely hard to be able to be rude to strangers because we've been brought up to be polite. So how do you cope with this? No, go away.
I've had a bit of practice because Nika is the third dog where I have practiced this particular thing. Avine was a shy dog. She didn't like strangers, and I found that if somebody asked and I said no, they would still persist. And that was really unpleasant thing for me. No, she's saying no, I'm sorry. And so my politeness wasn't enough of a wasn't giving enough of a message. Tiernan, not particularly, indifferent to strangers, doesn't really want to get to know them. Somebody tries to touch him, he'd be perplexed about that if he has no acquaintance with them. So I learned very quickly with him that I was just going to say it as it was. He doesn't want to be touched. Not make any apologies for it, not give any reasons, just a no. With Nika, it's slightly different because she's a puppy. The one thing that I hadn't planned for was that people would touch her without even asking me. And I was very surprised by that. So with Tiernan, they'd often say, "Can I say hello to your puppy?" No, he doesn't really want to say hello to people. Fine, people generally get that. But with Nika, and I'd rehearsed the no, sorry. But people were just reaching in towards me and trying to touch her. And the first time that happened, I was really shocked. just determined I wasn't going to take her to a place where that was likely to happen in future, and then learned to block her with my body. So I was practicing that while she was up in my arms, just the shoulder block
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
people coming in. But I understand people's reluctance to be, as they perceive it, rude. But if you think if somebody's coming towards you with both hands and they're looking like they're going to grab you, you probably would have that defensive reaction of either blocking them with your hands or saying no.
Mm,
And
mm.
why should it be any different for my dog?
Yeah, and I think also there's, we have to look at it the other way. There's an attraction. Certain puppies are pretty and
Mm.
making eye contact with strangers, which I suppose at a sort of subconscious level, people are going, oh, there, I must go in, because they've got the
Mm.
invitation straight from the dog. And often because
Yes.
they're focused on the puppy, even if it's in your arms or on the floor, they're not seeing your body language. So you
Mm.
physically often have to step between them and the dog and go,
Yes.
hey, what are you doing? Hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey, stop.
Mm.
Um, I do. We did a bit of a social experiment. I had a male Gordon Setter puppy that looked much like Pluto. I think he was about 12, 13 weeks, and we were at an event of one sort. I could walk him around and I could have absolutely no issue with anybody coming anywhere near me. And then one of the girls that was training with us, that was young, long, blonde hair, tall, my God, she was like, this puppy was like a magnet for people to come over and say hello. So there is some degree of, do you look like you're inviting the contact as well? Or do
Yes.
you look like you're going through town trying to mind your own business?
Yes.
Not so much what you look like, but are you also doing that openness with your body language that is
Mm.
using your puppy as a social, invite? And I had to work with her, and I said, you're asking these people to come in. I said, no, I'm not. She said, yes, you're looking at them and looking at your puppy and looking at them and looking at your puppy like, hey, look what I've got.
Yeah.
Look at this, and it was this openness of her invitation that just sucked people in to say hello to him. And he was like, oh, hello, people want to say hello to me. That's new.
Yes.
So the way we behave with the puppy, you can either shut people out, which does sound rude, but I mean, to me, there's no question about it. Your contract is with your dog,
Mm. Mm.
and you have to sum up a situation. I certainly, had Merrick as a puppy at about 16 weeks, supermarket car park. I like places where people are naturally busy, and it's not appropriate for them to want to go and cuddle puppies.
Yeah.
Either a railway station, commuter time, they're going to and from work. I don't want a puppy jumping on me. It's
Mm.
just people passing by. And that's what we want. We want that puppy to learn that people pass by. Great, good, they're
Yes.
boring.
Yeah.
Yep, they're boring.
Yeah.
But, hang outside a shop that's in a sort of a touristy type of area, and people are going to are strolling, and it makes such a difference to the way people behave, as whether they're on free time or whether they are heading to a very specific event and they're just passing through.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the environment, in fact, in which I had three people standing over me reaching for her was a pet shop. I was having her fitted for a
Oh,
harness
yeah.
for the car. So in that environment, people are already primed. They see
Mm,
themselves
mm,
as
mm.
animal lovers, and oh, here's an animal, and she looks friendly. And of course, she loves the novelty that other people afford. She likes to get to explore them, to smell them, to taste them, to take them in with all of her senses. She's
Yes,
really,
yes, yes.
really motivated by that, really finds that really rewarding. So they see that as friendliness, and I think that they see that as kind of affirming. People see that as kind of affirming in some ways, but I
Mm.
think it works the other way as well, in that people who have puppies see it as a kind of a, I don't want to say status symbol, but I think that there's that element of the attention that the puppy brings can be quite reinforcing for other
Oh
people.
yes, 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 yes. And often, we have to look back at, why have you got this dog? Oh well, because
Mm.
I want to go out and meet people. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Well, let's talk about that separately. But the pet shop is probably the worst place to take your puppy for socialisation,
Yes.
because I don't know about what it's like in Ireland, but over here we have these pet shop supermarkets, and
Hmm.
they have become the go-to place for young children to treat it like a zoo. So they have guinea pigs and hamsters and all sorts of things, and rabbits they can peer out through glass. So it's like an afternoon to take children to an entertainment spot. So if they see a puppy, oh,
Yeah.
yes, we are in definite trouble there. You're inviting
Yeah.
them to be part of the petting zoo.
Mm.
So not a good spot.
No.
I mean, I used to live in our main local town was a big tourist town, and during tourist season, if you tried to do what I call purposeful shopping, I've got to go here, here, and here. Heaven
Mhm.
help you, because everybody else was there to lose time. So
Mhm.
they were on a stroll, and they were
Yes.
just going up and down, four abreast on the street, having a look as they're walking and chatting. You couldn't get past them. You know, the worst place possible to take a puppy, because these people would just go, oh, let's go and have a look at that. Oh, let's, you know, they were in
Right.
a mind frame where they wanted to find things to go and have a look at and interact with. So,
Yes.
you know, look for places where there are people that have no interest in dogs and they're on a journey to go somewhere, and now is not the right time to talk to your dog, you know, and then
Yes.
they can get out, and that is becoming familiar with strangers around them that are of no particular interest. Yeah, no
Yes.
particular interest. Yeah. So learning to, you know, stand by your dog, um, and again, it has to be a physical intervention. You know, if they're homing in on your puppy, and I've seen people cross the street.
Mhm.
We had this, took one of the Gordon setters when we could first travel to Europe, um, over to Belgium, and we arrived at some ridiculous hour, like 7 in the morning. This conference didn't start till that evening, so we were walking around Bruges with the Gordon Setter, and it was all very nice. But it's a very old medieval town, and the pavements
Mhm.
are only like one or two people wide. And this woman came tearing across the road, arms in the air, in some foreign language, just making the most enormous, you know, row. Came
Mhm.
straight at the Gordon Setter at Arnold, and obviously she had Gordon setters in the past, and
Right.
he just thought, oh, lovely. Her hands were in the air as French people do. He jumped up, feet on her shoulders, and
Oh
she
my
grabbed
goodness.
him by the collar on either side. At this point, we were going, oh, no, 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 and just smooched him.
Oh my
He
goodness.
just hung there like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. He
Wow.
didn't jump up the whole rest of the weekend. um, But then we eventually worked out, you know, we had somebody help us with a bit of translation, but she had lost her Gordon setter that
Right.
she dearly loved a while back, and for her that was just something she couldn't resist, and she was so tearful and so emotional about it, and
Oh.
you know, so there are. It's not like a hard and fast rule. It's not a never, but it has
Mhm.
to be for the benefit of the dog. And if he wasn't,
Absolutely.
you know, happy with that sort of interaction, I think you'd have to get used to it in England. Nobody's going to kiss your dog in England.
Mm.
But we had another person that came to class who used to go for her walk past some cottages in her village, and this guy used to come out and want to give her puppy a biscuit. Yeah,
Right.
he's such a nuisance, and I don't know how to say no to him. He obviously, and I said, well, you know, what's the situation here? Oh, apparently he used to be a shepherd. He was retired. He didn't have a dog anymore, and saw she had a border collie, and just wanted to be able to connect with the dog. And he'd
Right.
wait to see her coming past and come out with a biscuit. And I said, I tell you what, why don't you just go in and have a cup of tea with him on, you know, a couple of times a week and see how that goes?
Mm.
And that's how it started. You with me? And it was like, you know, what could have been a just a nuisance turned
Yes.
out to be something that this person, you know, and in a way we sort of jealously guard, no, it's my dog, it's not yours, you can't have at
Mm.
it. But there are situations when the sharing is good for the dog and it's good for the person, but
Yes.
not just like a blind passing stranger coming in and have a fondle. And I do
Mm.
use the word fondle deliberately because it does make people go, ooh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like
Absolutely.
people wanting to kiss your babies, you know, like, ooh, no, not these days, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever had that issue, but ooh, no.
Yeah. But people think that if it's you were talking there about the benefit for the benefit of the dog. People think that if the dog enjoys it or seems to enjoy it, then it must be a good thing.
Mm.
And I don't think that they necessarily, because the narrative is that a friendly dog is a good dog, right? And we have
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
these ideas about what a friendly dog is, what a friendly dog should be. But I don't think people see the potential downside of a dog who wants to say hello to every single person that they
yeah,
meet.
yeah, yeah. Well, they're the nuisance of the future.
Mhm.
You know, they're the people that have gone out for a nice Sunday afternoon walk and your dog has gone charging up to them covered in mud and plastered them.
Mhm.
At what point do you then have to pay to have their clothing repaired? Or if they were walking their own dog, she might not have an interest in the dog, but she wants to jump all over the people.
Mm.
No, it's that becomes the nuisance dog. Definitely becomes the
Yeah.
nuisance dog. And people are often thinking of the 15 seconds for now, not the 15 years for the future of that dog.
Yes.
And there is, post COVID, we're now a little more savvy about this, but the chances of your dog being stolen are high in certain areas and certain towns, and having a friendly dog that goes up to strangers would give me the heebie-jeebies. It really would. No, you're
Yes.
staying on a lead, especially some of these small pedigree dogs. Poof, it's gone,
Mm.
out of sight for 2 minutes, 2 seconds, gone.
Yeah.
Maybe not your local Rottweiler, but it's like, oh no, we have to think about that.
Yeah.
So physically intervening. Usually, if a person's coming in on full purpose dive, their eye level is down at dog. So even if you stand behind your dog and say no, you could say no until the cows come home. They won't hear you because they're looking at the invitation from the dog.
Right.
And you do have to practice stepping across and physically putting your hand down in front of the puppy to break that
Mhm.
eye contact. Yes, and saying no.
Okay.
Now we can have a conversation. And if they're certainly being prepared for this and be able to put the puppy into park, so you can stand on the lead, not to yank them down in any sense, but to stop them jumping up if they're an excitable dog as
Yes.
well, while you're dealing and having a conversation with this person, then that would help. Yeah,
Yes.
so be able to do
Yeah.
the park. Otherwise, you've got to hold your puppy back and step forward at the same time, and it gets a bit complicated. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
And visitors as well. So how I know visitors, or you see, this is where when we're teaching classes, so people would come to our puppy classes, and I would rarely take a biscuit and a treat and say hello to the puppy and make it sit nicely for me. Never,
Mm.
never, never, never. Because in this environment, I want your puppy to regard me as somebody of no value.
Yes.
But probably 99% of people that take puppy class want to touch the puppies, want to say hello, want to
Mhm.
show the owner that they like their dog, and want to show the owner how an appropriate greeting should be done. And
Right.
so again, this is for the agenda of the person taking the class. Should they say hello to the dogs coming in? From my point of view, from the benefit of the dog, no.
Okay.
This is an opportunity for that person to learn how to practice saying no to strangers. So I used to get a friend to come over and be the obnoxious stranger that wants to come and say hello to your little doggy. Oh, isn't he gorgeous? Can I come and say hello? No. Oh, but I like dogs. Good for you. No, thank you. And she would be very, very persistent and go, this usual excuse, but I like dogs. Really,
Yes.
that gives you a right to come and say hello to them. Dogs like me. Good for you. No. Yes, it's not a question of no, she doesn't want to, or no, you shouldn't, or no, she's this, or no, she's that. It's just no. But
Yes.
done in such a way that stops them, and then you can say, thank you very much, I am working on blah, 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 blah. No, we should be able to protect our dog from well-meaning, careless,
Mhm.
often good intentioned.
Mm.
But if somebody comes up to me and said, I used to have Gordon Setters when I was a child, I just love your dog and she was lovely, I might then say, would you like to say hello to her? Yeah. And
Yes.
if that is suitable for my dog, she can definitely say hello.
Yeah.
But just mind that cup of coffee and put that down, because you won't have it
Mhm.
after she said hello. So yeah, so be able to practice this, and if you have a sort of friend that can come over and let you practice this, it's not a bad idea.
Yes.
But then the contract also goes with family members.
Mhm.
This was a common thing where somebody would want to do something with the puppy, like play with it in a way that is not good for the puppy. In other words, get it over-aroused or excited, or run around with it, or play a game that's just too risky for that puppy to be playing. And again,
Right.
your contract is with that puppy. You have to say no. She needs to go in the crate. No, she's not going to jump all over you right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
And no,
Lovely.
you're not going to give her food from the table.
That ship may have sailed, Kay. What is she learning?
No, but it's you know, when you think, okay, so what should I do in this situation? You've got to think, if I can't say I'm on your side to the dog, then who is on their side? Who's looking after their welfare for the rest of their lives? Who's looking after their future? You know, because
Yes.
they don't know it. You know, and if somebody, you know, it starts to get a bit uncomfortable here, but I'm sure we talked about this before. There was a friend of the family that used to come round and used to give us money. He used to give us a half crown, yes, and as he did it, it would have a little bit of a hand stroke and clutch of the hand at the
Oh
same
no.
time. And I remember my father sort of intervening on this, and certainly they had a discussion of this in the car on the way home, that, you know, we're not going to see Uncle again because,
Mm.
and I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on. I got half a crown, I didn't mind, you know,
Mm.
because they're protecting my future against something that I couldn't possibly know about. And just as
Absolutely.
equally, if you've got young children that want to race around with a puppy on a shiny floor, you are
Mm.
protecting that puppy from something those children couldn't possibly realise is a risk. Yep.
Very much. Yeah. I
So
think it's
always
a
remember.
real tension people feel, about other people's feelings and their dogs. But I really like the way you phrased it. Your contract is with your dog, and you
Yeah,
can do all
yeah,
of the explaining afterwards, and you can have the conversations, and people will hopefully find a thought to take away. It might result in learning for both of the people in the discussion, but at that moment, it has to be the dog who comes first.
yes, absolutely. And well-meaning advice. You know, oh, you should take her to classes. Oh, you should do this with her. Oh,
Mm.
you should do that with her. You know, these people that stand and tell you how you should live with your dog. Ooh,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, everyone's got advice as to how you should manage that dog. Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Well, hopefully we've given some people some ideas there, and next time somebody comes up and wants to behave badly, no, that's the answer.
There we go.
Politely. Lovely. Well, thank you very much on that.
Thanks to you.
Thank you for listening. We shall be following Nika's first year through the podcasts. If you would like to learn more, please have a wander around our website, learningaboutdogs.com. We have many, many articles and lots of courses that you can explore. We also have Facebook pages, which is Kay Lawrence and Learning About Dogs. So if you have any questions on first year topics or anything else you'd like us to focus on, please use the Facebook pages and ask. See you next time.